Hello, in this presentation, we're going to see one of the steps of the formative project, which is my talents and my passions. Let's remember that the steps of the formative project of Business Leadership 1 are these. First of all, you have just formed your team and you made your collaborative plan. You have to make some arrangements of that collaborative plan in order to have a very good one to follow you all over the course. Uh, Now we're going to focus on my talents and my passion. That is an individual work which will be done in this week, and then we have the problems all around. That would be a teamwork. Then you work with your personal leadership development plan, and then you work with the problem, necessities, and opportunities, putting together the PDLP and teamwork, and then you work with the social leadership team, and then having both of the plans, you will see how you're going to implement it. And finally, at the end of the course, you are going to give us a final presentation, and you're going to have a very formal, a very good written report of all the work you did in the course. Okay, so uh, it's very important to understand that the focus of this formative project and of the course is an individual and a team perspective. What does that mean? It means that we are using some of the key concepts, key ideas of businesses, of organizations, and we are going to use those tools to deliver some individual and group products. And that's the way organizations function, because remember, organizations are the sum of individuals, are the sum of groups in order to achieve objectives. Specific objectives depending on what kind of organization it is. So an organization is an open system that interacts with the environment. This idea of systems is very common in organization, in management theory, in general management theory, and it means that organizations have some kind of inputs, which are the environment supplies. There are some inputs that are accountable, that we can see them, that are resources very clearly identified as people with specific talents, as financial resources, as material resources, as technology, information, etc., in order to obtain something, depending on what is the value that organization wants to create for the society. And that input enters in a black box and process all those inputs with the procedures, with the specific processes that are inside the organization. And that transformation process delivers the product outputs, which are maybe goods, maybe services, maybe a combination of goods and services. And those goods and services are delivered to society. And then it's a consumer feedback in order to have better products in a continuous improvement quality process. This process also of inputs and outputs in a black box transformation process is delivered by the management process. all over an organization, there are processes that are involved in a different perspective, dimensional perspective of hierarchical perspective, or a different kind of perspectives inside the organization. We can see different kind of processes like planning, that is, where are we going to go in this organization? Where our resources, our capabilities, and are going to be focused. Those are the strategic goals of an organization, and then the tactic and specific goals that an organization needs to focus on. Then there is an organizing process. An organizing process is not but deliver the specific people to the specific work. That is, who does what, and who is the authority to do something, and who communicates to whom and how. That is organizing. So, as you can see, organizing is involved in planning somehow. Then you have directing. It's another step of the management process. Directing is to deliver all the motivation, all the group teams in order to fulfill those goals, those objectives, those strategic processes. And then finally we have the controlling process, the controlling step, sorry, and in the management process. That is to see what we plan, what is the gap from the reality of the performance and the planning goals which were targeted. There is controlling. So these 4 steps are very important in management. So if we focus only in the planning process of an organization, we're going to see that planning is a very, very important process and activity in an organization. This process involves top management, middle management, and also people who are involved directly with the client and directly with people in the day-to-day of the organization activity, operational activities. So planning is all over the organization. So, but all the processes have this structure in the planning process. First, you need to know which is the diagnosis. This means, for example, in an organization, in a lucrative organization, it means which are the tendencies, which are the preferences of the market, that is made by the market research. And also, we need to do an internal analysis of that organization, which could be formed like an entrepreneur startup, or maybe it could be an organization which is already operating. But we need to know where we are, what is happening around us. So we need to make a strategic planning. With that information of our diagnosis, we make a strategic planning. That is, we need to know what is the reason of being of our organization. That is, why we are here. Why we are as an Apple organization. We are here in order to change the world. That's Steve Jobs' ideal, and he did it. Why is a municipality government administration there? What is the reason of being? If the reason of being is not clear, obviously the services are not going to be delivered clearly or with good quality. Also, we need to know what is our vision, where do we want to go? And also as an organization, finally, we need to know how we will do it, which are going to be the strategies to obtain our reason of being and our vision. And with all that informed, beginning with our diagnosis, we have to conform our tactic and operational planning. This is a hierarchical planning process. In a tactical and operational planning, we have specific plans with specific sectors of our organization. But we target specific goals. What is the difference of a goal and an objective? A goal is a quantitative expression or a statement. We say specifically how much are we going to do in order to obtain a specific objective. An objective, a strategic action, etc., do not have a quantified goal. And in a tactical and operational planning, we need to enter in the second step, which is the organizing process. Okay, so we have to understand perfectly well who is going to do what. Now, in the formative project, we need to know this specific explanation of how an organization plans in our personal planning, and not a random plan. It is a planification of our leadership skills. You're going to be involved in a leadership development plan. So in order to obtain a leadership development plan, you're going to visualize yourself as an organization. So you need to you need to be involved in the steps as an organization. So you need to diagnose yourself individually and as a team when you work in your team or with your team, in order to obtain the personal leadership development plan, which is one of the most important products of our course. And the second important product of our course is the social leadership development plan. Those two important products are going to be linked to the other second business leadership second course. So all the courses in business leadership are going to be linked. Finally, with those perfectly well-designed plans, you're going to see how you're going to implement them. So, are they realistic? Can we really obtain those results? So we are going to be very creative in order to see how we are going to implement them. So, in this step of our formative project, what to do in my talents and my passion step? First of all, you are going to make some research. Okay, you're going to Google, or you're going to see some important sources in order to identify the key skills of leadership. Principally, the key leadership skills in a personal perspective, and you're going to identify them, summarize them, and write them down in your report. That is the first part you're going to do. Secondly, you're going to search inside yourself, very deep inside yourself. That is a personal activity, and you're going to see and you're going to describe in your report what you love. What you love. I love doing sports. I love math. I love working in teams. I love working individually. I love analyzing data. I don't know what you love. I love helping people. And you have to search what you really love and describe it very, very thoroughly. And then you're going to see what you are good at. Or maybe you haven't found what you are good at, but you have to see what you're good at. And you're going to describe it in your report. And thirdly, you are going to produce a SWOT analysis of yourself around those leadership skills. So in businesses, there is a passion, talent, and value intersection. So there are, in the business, there are some passion around a leader, which is moving volunteers in order to fulfill goals in a good quality to perform for society. But also there is talent of people that are searching for leadership. And business are creating value for society. They're creating value. In a personal perspective, we can take from Japanese culture, from Oriental culture, we can take the Ikai concept of equilibrium, of talents and passions and personal perspective. So we can see that the Ikigai, this Japanese concept of the reason of being is in the middle of this chart, which is what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can pay it for. So you are going to be focused on what you love. Those are your passion, on your reason of being, at least from now to 2 years, which is your planning. Your planning is going to be from now to 2 years. And you're going to identify your passion and your personal mission. And then what you are good at. That's it, your passion, and maybe when you study your career or something, you're going to be in a profession, you're going to select your what bachelor you're going to study, etc. And you're going to identify your vocation when you see the world needs. Okay? So we are going to work only in what you love and what you're good at. Then you're going to produce a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis is brainstorm analysis, personal brainstorm analysis, where you're going to analyze your internal factors. Your internal factors are the ones that you control, which are your strengths and your weaknesses. But what kind of strengths? The strengths that are involved in developing leadership skills. Don't forget the goal. It's not the strengths of anything, no. It's, I want to develop leadership skills. I know which are the leadership skills. Now I'm going to write down which are my strengths in order to develop that. And you're going to write down at least 3 of them. 3 strengths, which are internal. You can control them. Weaknesses, you can control them, but are negative. Opportunities are outside variables, and you cannot control it. And threats, which are negative, and you cannot control it. And you're going to write down at least 3 in this kind of chart in your report. The SWOT analysis also have a strategy analysis. Don't worry, you're not going to do that for the first step. You are going to do that when you are when you work in the personal leadership development plan. But the important thing is to understand that you're going to enlist strength, enlist weaknesses, enlist opportunities, enlist threats in order to obtain strategies. Strategies where you are going to use opportunities and strength to take advantage of those opportunities. And you're going to write down that strategy. Also, there are opportunity weakness strategies. You're going to write down overcome weaknesses by taking advantage of opportunities. You're going to have threat strength strategies. That is the use of strengths to avoid threats, external menaces. And also you have a strategy of weakness, threat weakness, which is to minimize weakness and avoid threats. But don't worry about this one. This one is going to be done when you work with your plan. Now, with this first report, you are only going to enlist at least 3 strengths, 3 weaknesses, 3 opportunities, and 3 threats. Of what? Of producing or growing inside yourself with leadership skills. So what is going to be the content of your report? Your first step personal leadership development plan, which is an individual report. This is going to have a table of contents. It's a formal report. This table of contents needs to have all these parts with the number of the pages in Word and then convert it in PDF. Second, a brief explanation of what you did. Third, the description of at least 5 skills, 5 key leadership skills you research. Okay, you're going to research those 5 leadership skills and you're going to describe them. 4, description of what I love and what I'm good at. You're going to describe that. Okay, what I love. So you have to search inside yourself. 5, the SWOT personal analysis, at least 3 of each. 6, from all the inputs, you're going to write down your first draft of your vision. What kind of vision? The vision of how you see yourself in order to develop your leadership skills in at least 2 years. Okay, so you're going to write down your vision. Your vision is an aspiration. What you want, how you want to see yourself in 2 years when you finish your high school. And finally, you're going to write down 2-3 paragraphs of conclusion. And that is our first activity, our second activity, our first step of the personal leadership development plan. So good luck, and I am very, very attentive of all your doubts.